Hey folks, it's Scott. I just wanted to show a video on how I progressed forward in making a stone patio without a tractor. Use of rollers and timbers and bars and all that other wonderful stuff. So yeah, stick around. I'll show you some stuff that I've been doing. This is another fun day on the patio. So I'm resorting to ancient techniques now, using some rollers, moving this rock, which is about 400 pounds, to my hopeful place right in here. See what happens. Well, you do what you got to do. 400-pound rock. Look at that. It was so easy. On rollers. Just like taking your rock roller skating. It's gotta go over there. Till next time. Well, apparently it takes a lot of footage to make a time lapse look like a longer video, so that was pretty quick. But I did stop for one reason, and I wanted to show this one other technique that I have here, and that is using this, if you can see it, boulder. All right, so I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. So I need to rotate this rock right here, and so I'm going to get it on the ground, and I'm going to use this rock to help me rotate, and I'll show you a video of that in just a minute. Or maybe the next time that I'm just gonna edit that out because I don't know how to make movies. I suck at filmmaking. I realize filming and working is kind of a hard thing to do. Here's my boulder. I'm going to put that on the ground. Somewhere about there. There's the rock I'm working on. I'll rotate that. You see the shape of this rock is what I'm after, right? Well, this is really hard to do. I'll just show you the technique when I get there. All right, so what I have now is this rock is now off of my tracks. My rollers have been taken off. They're scattered all over the place. If you look under the rock, you'll see my boulder, which is right there. And what it's gonna do is allow me to rotate this rock on one little like pivot point, just like this. There. So I'll do like another video of this. So now I have this rock in position, and you can see how close the geometry is without really having to do a heck of a lot of trimming. You know, just went through the pile and kind of found one that looked close and pretty darn close. So you need to take a little off this corner. The biggest thing when you're selecting rocks is to try to find one you don't have to take too much off, and try to conserve as much square footage as possible. These things are expensive. You know, they're like $14 a square foot. So you start chewing one of these rocks and making it into, you know, something about this size, then that's not really the most effective or efficient way to go about it. But just wanted to show how I move rocks around. This is what I deal with for every single one of these rocks that I've had to do so far, including the steps, this walkway, all the way around to this walkway, all the way up to those steps, and I have a front patio as well. Super fun. Coming along though, a little at a time. Alright, with my Swedish pattern blacksmith hammer, don't judge, I trim away at this rock as I'm doing now so that it fits the geometry of the mating rocks. So I'm just picking away. I broke away all this stuff by just working from the edge across and then all the way up to a line that I established. And so the next thing I got is to trial fit it and see how I did. Talk about this hammer for a second. This is a Swedish pattern blacksmith hammer. I like it because it has what they call a cross peen. All right, I bought this hammer years and years ago, and I really never used it. And the reason why was the weight. This is a 1500 gram, I believe it's gram, or a 3-pound hammer. The misconception with blacksmith hammers is that you need to get the biggest hammer you can get. You really want to be able to strike. Well, I tell you something, when you're blacksmithing for 8 hours a day, the last thing you want is to be swinging a big giant thing like this. You're better off to get a smaller head, like maybe like a 2-pound or so hammer, and lengthen the handle. And then when you grab it down here, you can imagine the amount of force that's going to be placed here. So better off with a lighter head, longer handle, and you really can strike super hard with a small head. And then you can also, for smaller work, you can get up and just choke up on the handle a little bit, and you don't have to strike so hard if you're doing some delicate work. So just a little word about this hammer and why I am using it here. It works wonderful for breaking away rocks. So there you go. Why I use a blacksmith hammer for rocks. Because I have one. Well, and there you go. So it's got the preliminary trim pretty well seated. It's about half to 3/4 of an inch of a gap right there that I think I can close up just a little more with a little bit of chewing. One thing you gotta be careful is sometimes things will get a little bit thin, and if you go and you try to chew a little more off, you might break this whole corner right off, and then you'll be really crying. And the way to actually fix that is to find some old river rocks and throw them in the places that you screwed up. But don't tell anybody I screwed up. This was intentional. You know what I mean? Just it looks good that way. So anyway, but here is that rock I moved. It is pretty well fit. Now I need to bring it to elevation, tamp it real good, and it'll be nice. There you go. Well, that concludes just a little snippet of a day in the life of moving rocks all around the place. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not a stonemason. I'm just an amateur guy. Some of you stonemasons may be like, oh, no kidding, really? And others, hopefully, maybe I just, as a backyard stone, or I move anything heavy kind of a person, maybe you caught something that you might want to use. But this particular stone is sugar ledge stone, otherwise known as Goshen stone. It breaks fairly easy and can be a little more pricey, but the end result is really worth it. So especially if you do it yourself, then you can say you did it. So all right, take care everybody.